Hello friends, welcome back to the tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, it's 15 August today. So very happy Independence Day to all of you. आप सभी को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की बहुत बहुत बधाई हो. So on this occasion today I am going to explain another a very concept booster problem, right? And that whatever I am going to explain today is pretty basic. Very basic thing is this, but lots of people, especially the beginners, have lots of problem in understanding or explaining such concept. See, whenever if you ask anyone, see which actually element is having the highest melting point in the periodic table, so generally students don't answer. If you ask them what would be the which element has the lowest melting point in the periodic table, right, again they have actually they don't have any clue. So these things are pretty basics and you need to understand the various things in it. Okay, so I'm going to explain all these things today. So first of all, you see I am discussing element. Remember, today actually in this class I will discuss elements only. I am not discussing any type of the compound. First of all, you should remember all these this thing actually, right? So say if I am having any element, say I am having element E, and this element could be anything. Okay, this element could be your metal. Okay, any metal from the periodic table, be it your alkali metal, alkaline earth metal, or your transition metals. And it could be your metalloids also, metalloids, like you may have your carbon in that case. Okay, and you may also have non-metals. Okay, and apart from this you may also have the noble gases into it. So see, what is actually the what is the meaning of the melting? Say if I have I have taken this E symbol for the element. So what I am going to explain you, say you are having this element, right, and this element is interconnected with other elements to form a molecule. Okay, say this is the thing, right? You may take another element attached to it, you may take another element here, and then you may take another element here. Say this is the crystal structure or crystal lattice of a particular element. What happens if you melt it? Okay, say if you heat it, and if you heat it up to its melting point, say, so what is going to happen in that case? There would be the breaking of the bond, and these bonds between the elements would break, and then you will have your elements like E, E, E everywhere, and these E elements are free to anywhere. So this is the process of the melting. If we heat the metal to its melting point, the bond breaks and the atoms are free to move anywhere. This is the concept of the melting. Okay, see, if you are taking any kind of the metal, any kind of the element in the from the periodic table, this will true for all the metals. Now the important thing is that you need to understand the atomicity. So what is the atomicity? Atomicity. So atomicity is nothing but it is the total number of the atoms present in a molecule. If you have a single molecule, how many atoms are there in that case? Say for example, you can take the various examples in it, and say if you are having your say oxygen, right? So it is O2. If you take ozone, it is O3. So in that case, atomicity, in case of the oxygen, atomicity is 2. In case of the ozone, atomicity is 3. Okay, and similarly if you take your helium, in this case atomicity is 1, right? If you take phosphorus like P4, then the atomicity is 4. If you take sulfur, then it is S8, atomicity is 8. So this is the concept actually, but the important thing is that, say if someone asks you what is the atomicity of the carbon, what is the atomicity of the carbon, so you will not have any answer. If you have that what is the atomicity of the chromium, then you will not have any answer. Okay, whether it is monoatomic, diatomic, or the octaatomic, or the tetraatomic, triatomic, what is the nature, then you will not have answer. So please remember a point which I am going to explain here. Atomicity is nothing but it is the total number of the atoms present in a molecule, that I have already explained. See, but all the metals and few other metals, like any metals present in the periodic table, be it transition metals or the alkali metals, and few other elements like your carbon, okay, they consist of a very large number of the atoms bonded together. Very large number means uncounted, very huge number of the atoms connected together, and their atomicity cannot be determined. So what generally we do, we consider their atomicity as 1, like we say the carbon has the atomicity of 1, right? But it is not true. It is not having the atomicity of 1. Uncountable number of carbon atoms are there in the lattice, and same is true for the any metal. This thing is very important, very important, right? If you understand this thing, then there is no problem. Okay, so see, if I move further, then you see your carbon. This carbon is having lots of allotropes, but I am discussing only 2 right now, right? Whenever if time permits, I will explain other allotropes also in the later classes. But carbon is having 2 allotropes. One is the diamond, okay, and other is your graphite. These 2 allotropes are there, and if you don't know about the melting points of the elements present in the system, then you would be surprised to note that this carbon actually in the form of the diamond, it is having the highest melting point reported for any element in the periodic table, that is somewhere around 4027 degrees centigrade. Similarly, this graphite is also having the very high melting point, somewhere around 3600 degrees centigrade. Okay, I am not mentioning the boiling point, but the trends will be the same for the boiling point, melting point, as well as for the melting point. So see, your allotropes like your diamond and your graphite may have the different different melting points, but please remember this carbon in the form of the diamond is having the highest melting point reported. Okay, and graphite is having 3600, but remember this graphite is more stable than diamond. This is something very important. Okay, now if someone asks, see, what would be the lowest, which element is having the lowest melting point, so you will straightforward write helium. Okay, this helium is having the very lowest melting point, which is somewhere around negative of 272.2 degrees centigrade. This you should remember. Okay, now the thing is that if you see the periodic table, right? So I am going to explain the periodic some trends in the periodic table, and for this actually I have to write certain things. Say you are having hydrogen here, and below hydrogen you are having lithium. Okay, and after lithium you are having your beryllium, and after beryllium somewhere here you are having boron, then you are having carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. Okay, of course the helium is also there. Okay, in between them you see there are other elements. I am not going to write those elements, but please remember these are the representative elements. These are the main group elements, and for main group elements what happens actually, if you see the melting point, okay, so this melting point actually increases when you move from left to right, and it goes up to this carbon. So from lithium to beryllium to boron, carbon, right? So this melting point, I am writing MP here, this melting point increases. This you have to remember. Okay, now the reason is that, see, if you want to write, then you can write their group also. So this is group 1, this is group 2, okay, and this is your group 13, this is group 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, this is how you can write. So you can easily say that from group 1 to group 14 for the representative element, that is starting from the lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, the melting point increases. But after that, you see, after that, if you move from this carbon to neon, the melting point decreases. The melting point decreases. So this is the trend for the main group elements. Now what could be the reason in that case? Okay, explanation is quite simple. the element which is having the higher number of the valence electrons, right, they can form the very large number of the bonds to bring the more cohesive energy. But what is the meaning of the cohesive energy? Remember, this term is another important term. I am writing here cohesive energy. I am writing cohesive energy. Okay, you can Google it, you can find the definition there. So cohesive energy is nothing, it is the energy gained by arranging the atoms in a crystalline state. Okay, this is known as the cohesive energy. Okay, that means you are bonding your atoms together to form the crystalline lattice. So whatever the lattice energy would be there in that case, it would be termed as cohesive energy, because you are actually arranging the same kinds of the elements in it. Okay, so why this happens actually? As the number of the electrons increases, valence electron increases. So if you write the configuration of this carbon, okay, so this carbon is having what? Carbon is 6, so it is 1s2, 2s2 and 2p2. So how many electrons are there? 4 electrons are there. 2 I can write here. And if it undergoes the sp3 hybridization, like in case of the diamond, so it can form the four bonds. Okay, so whenever the very large number of electrons are there, so the atoms, actually large number of the atoms can bond it together to form a giant crystal. That's why the atomicity is very high, and thus the melting point is also very high, right? So this actually clearly explains why this carbon is having very high melting point. Why? Because it is having the 4 valence electron, while in case of the boron, if you write the electronic configuration of the boron, so what it will give you? Boron is what? Boron is 5. So you will have 1s2, you will have 2s2 and you will have 2p1. So only 3 electrons are there. So this is the simplest explanation, and this explanation you can find also in the book of the A.K. Das, Asim K. Das, Inorganic Chemistry by Asim K. Das. So I have referred that book to explain the things. So this is about your representative elements. Okay, you should remember this point. But there are very other, there are large number of the questions which you need to answer. Okay, so what about the transition elements? What about the transition elements? So I am writing transition elements here. Transition elements, and I am discussing only your 3D transition series to explain the things. Okay, say for example, if you start somewhere here, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. So I have also made a short video how to actually memorize all the transition series, the trick to memorize the transition series. If you haven't seen that particular video, so I am giving you the link here. You can see at the right top corner, link is blinking. You can go there and learn the things actually. Okay, so now see this was actually if you divide it into groups. So this is group 3, this is group 4, this is group 5, group 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and in that case also, if you see here, if you move from scandium to vanadium, then melting point increases. Okay, and after that, if you move from chromium to the zinc in this particular series, in that case melting point decreases. This is something very important. Now I am giving you one more information: chromium, molybdenum and tungsten. Karmov. Okay, chromium, molybdenum and tungsten. And my trick was like that: Karodpati, Moorkh, woman, to remember this. Okay, so if you see in that case, if you move down the group, okay, so in that case melting point increases. And you would be surprised to know, see, after see your carbon, right, this tungsten is having the highest melting point. Okay, this see exactly, see, I don't remember the data, so let me check what was the exact melting point of your tungsten. Okay, so let me check in my notes somewhere if I have written here. Okay, so I am unable to find, but it is having the highest melting point among the metals. Okay, so I checked it. So it is this tungsten is having the highest melting point among the transition metals, and it is somewhere around 3410 degree centigrade. Right. So this is highest for any metal. So three things you have learned: carbon is having the highest melting point, followed by the your graphite, and after graphite you are having this tungsten. Okay, so this is true. If you move down the group, so this is true actually for any actually group in the transition metal series. So now again, what could be the reason for that? So reason is again same. You can count the total number of the valence electrons. Okay, so how many total number of valence electrons are there? So you know this, if you go for this chromium, sorry, this vanadium. Okay, so this vanadium is actually 3d5, 5 electrons are there, right? And for scandium 3d3 electrons are there, and for titanium 3d4 electrons are there. Okay, so this vanadium is actually having the very high melting point. Okay, and it increases in that manner, and if you notice that, then this I have remembered, 1917 degree centigrade. 1917 degree centigrade is the melting temperature of the vanadium. Okay, but you can see here, you can argue one thing actually. What you can argue here, this chromium is also having the 6 unpaired electron, right? It is having the 3d5 and 4s1 number of electrons. So total unpaired electron or bonding electrons are 6, while in that case total bonding electrons in case of the vanadium is only 5. Okay, so it is for vanadium actually, right? This for vanadium, 1917 degree centigrade. This is for vanadium, please remember. Okay, then why actually this chromium is not having the higher melting point than the vanadium? The simplest answer is that, see, these are the metals, and if your metallic bonding is very high, okay, then obviously the your melting point would also be very high. But this chromium is having the extra stable electronic configuration, like half filled d subshell and 4s subshell. So it is reluctant to lose its electron or to share its electrons to form the metallic bond. So there is less metallic character in case of the chromium when compared to the vanadium. That's why this chromium is having the lower melting point than the vanadium. Vanadium is 1917 degrees centigrade, while your chromium is having little bit lower melting point, and that is somewhere around 1890 degree centigrade. 1890 sorry, let me correct it, 1890 degree centigrade. So this is lower. So this you will remember. However, the chromium is having the highest number of the unpaired electrons, but it is reluctant to form the metallic bond. When it is reluctant to form the metallic bond, obviously its melting point would be low. But after that, you can see here the number of the see, in case of your manganese, iron, and cobalt, nickel, and all these. So the number of the d electrons actually decreases, unpaired electron decreases, so metallic character also decreases. Okay, so this will reflects in the decrease in the melting point. So melting point increases for the transition series from scandium to vanadium. Chromium from chromium to zinc, it is actually decreases. And why chromium, despite having the 6 unpaired electron, why it is not having, I have explained. Now the important thing is that why this tungsten is having the very high melting temperature, okay, or melting point. Okay, so the only reason is that when you move down the group, okay, it is guys very important to remember, when you move down the group, both things actually, the metallic nature as well as the covalent character increases. So you should remember this point. Down the group, metallic nature, I am writing Mn, metallic nature increases, as well as covalent nature also increases. Okay, so these two factors are actually supporting the tungsten to have the highest melting point for any element present in it. So you will answer in that case, when we move down the group, the metallic nature as well as the covalent character both increases. This will give the highest melting temperature among the metals to the highest melting temperature to tungsten among the metals. This is how you can write. I hope there is no problem in that. So these things are very, very important, very basics, right? Very basic things, but people always have doubt in these things. Now say what can happen in the next page. See, this is actually your, if you see here, this is your alkali metals. So in case of the alkali metals, what you are observing, melting point is high in case of the lithium, but if you go down the group, it decreases. So what would be the possible explanation why the melting point decreases for the first group elements when we move down the group? The simplest answer is that when we move down the group, there is a increase in size of the metals, and when this happens actually, so in each metallic structure, the attraction between the positively charged nucleus, okay, of the metal and the delocalized electron decreases. So thus melting point also decreases. Okay, so what I am actually trying to explain here, if you go down, see, then your cesium nucleus, cesium, so I am putting positive for the nucleus, it is not iron, remember it is not iron, I am putting positive only to show the nucleus. Okay, so what happens actually, size increases, right? When the size increases, shells are increases. Okay, and in that case what can happen, the metallic character actually will decrease in that case. Okay, so that's why the for this first series the melting point decreases down the group, because the attraction between the positively charged nucleus and the delocalized electrons decreases. Okay, so this is for first, this is true for the alkali metals, but if you move further, if you see here, these are the halogens, guys. Okay, and in case of the halogen, you can see this actually fluorine is having the very low melting point. Okay, but it increases when we move down the group. So this order is reverse of what you have seen for your alkali metals. For alkali metals, this melting point decreases, but for halogens, the melting points down the group actually increases. So from minus 220 degrees centigrade for astatine is goes up to 302 degrees centigrade. So what could be the reason? Remember, so these are the covalent compounds. Okay, these are the covalent compounds, and they held together. If I can write, say here, fluorine F2 rather, right, again F2. So in between them, what happens actually, van der Waals forces are there. Van der Waals forces are there, or more specifically, if you do the sub classification, the London forces. Okay, so when you see, and these van der Waals forces are size dependent. When the size increases, then these van der Waals forces are also increased actually. Okay, and these are the non-metallic metals. So you cannot apply the concept of the metallic nature which you have applied for your alkali metals. You cannot apply that concept here. So when you move down the group, of course the size increases, so your van der Waals forces also increases, and thus this melting point also increase. So these are the possible exceptions in the periodic tables for the metallic character, and very, very important one. Lastly, you can see I have explained, see, all these things. So if I little bit, yes, okay, I think the screen is stabilized now. So you can see here, this I have explained why this happens, this I have explained why this happened, and for halogen, same explanation which you have given for the non-metals, you can also give for the your noble gases, right? When the size increases, the van der Waals forces increases, so the melting and the boiling point also increases. But remember, helium would have the lowest melting temperature in the entire periodic table. Okay, carbon in the form of the diamond will have the highest melting temperature. Okay, and then your say tungsten among the metals will have the highest melting temperature. All these things you should know. Okay, so this is the little concept booster for you guys. Learn this concept very, very clearly. Okay, this will be very, very helpful for your competitive examination. So that's it for today. So before signing out, again very, very warm wishes to all of you for your Independence Day. Okay, thank you very much.